Let's take a look at President's executive order in a little bit more detail. The 7 countries involved are Syria, Iraq, Iran, Sudan, Libya, Somalia and Yemen. US border officials are now required for 3 months to turn away anyone arriving from these countries. Syria is slightly different. There's an indefinite ban on Syrian refugees. Mr. Trump must decide if he believes sufficient changes have been made to justify a reversal. Anyone with dual nationality with one of the 7 countries, such as British Iraqi, is barred too. 250,000 people who were born in Iraq, Iran and Somalia have dual British nationality. The executive order directly references the 9/11 attacks, but none of the 19 plane hijackers came from the countries Mr. Trump has banned. The ban is only temporary, plus the President's executive orders can be overturned if the US Congress passes a bill to oppose it. Well, here with me is immigration lawyer Harjap Singh Bhangal. In terms of immigration, where do we stand now, and what can those people who are concerned that they are in that situation, they may have dual nationality, trying to get over to the United States, see family members there, where do they stand?
Technically, they won't be allowed in, but they should consult with their embassy before flying, for the US embassy, whether they will be allowed in or not. And so what this order effectively affects people who have green cards as well, and people with spouse visas or marriage visas, people with visitor visas. So it's like a blanket ban, effectively. There's been rumours this morning that it won't affect dual Canadian nationals. Now, we're not sure as to how true those rumours are or not. However, the order that was passed, it affects dual nationals, it affects people who are on visitor visas, spouse visas. Like I said, people with green cards, you might have resided there for 10 years and you might have just gone for a holiday back to Yemen and you're trying to get back in, and reports of people who weren't allowed to board on the planes. There has been a victory this morning in the courts, in the federal courts, where a judge has said, you know what, the people in detention and the people you're not letting entry into, about 400 people that they have to be released and they should be allowed in. However, that's temporary, and a couple of judges have followed it up with judgments saying, yes, actually, you can't detain and not hold people there. That's against the law. So the judicial reviews have worked in that respect. However, they are temporary. They are pending till next hearings in February.
As part of the fundamental issue here, the real confusion, as you said, some people have been allowed in the country with green cards, some people haven't. Depends what country you're travelling from, and you're trying to get your connecting flight. Say if you're travelling back to the United Kingdom from Latin America and you have to stop in New York, you might not be allowed access into the United States for that reason. It's all very, very confusing.
It's very discretionary, so it all depends on what immigration officer you get literally at boarding, or you turn up at the airport, or an immigration officer wants to let you in or hold you or question you, you detain you for further questioning. You know, he might decide to send you back, in which case you have to have legal advice available there. That's why there's a large number of immigration lawyers who have camped themselves at the airports and offering free advice, helping to get these people out, and are putting these judicial reviews in and petitions in, saying, well, hold on, this is illegal, and you can't just do this. You can't just say, right, you've let someone board a plane, or, you know, mid-flight you say to someone, actually, we're not going to let you in, but you've let them board a plane. So it is very discretionary, and we're hoping that immigration officers are going to use that discretion. But it's something that's literally just written down on a piece of paper and a pen, and it's passed. There's been no real thinking or no real consultation behind this. So one of the reasons why the federal judge, I think Donnelly, she said, well, actually, I'm going to stay this order, is because the immigration lawyers who turned up from the government, who turned up there, said, actually, we haven't had time to think about the legal repercussions of this, because we've been just told, here's an order and you have to impose it. So that's why the judge says, well, that's the reason why I'm staying this order. You need to go back and rethink this whole thing. This is not how it's going to work and how it shouldn't work. You shouldn't have people detained at airports. There was rumours of a fiancé today in handcuffs, a 21-year-old fiancé who was given a visa to come to the US, and she's literally in handcuffs, and, you know, her fiancé's in tears saying, well, why? She's not a criminal. So to treat these people as criminals and say, well, you're not coming in on the basis of your nationality, that is technically and fundamentally wrong. And the rule of law has kicked in.
You're an immigration lawyer. You've been covering immigration for a number of years. This is a developing story. That's why we're covering it. But have you come across anything like this in the time that you've been an immigration lawyer?
Not really. I mean, it wouldn't really happen here. And this is a warning shot for people who think here that perhaps Brexit will be the thing, that we'll just be able to stop and say to Europeans, you can't come in, or say, you know, you've got to go back. It's not going to work like that. This needs to be thought out. You can't just change immigration policy overnight and expect it to be implemented. You need a structure and a system in place. And this is exactly what's happening here. Otherwise, you're going to get legal challenges, you're going to get protests, mass protests at the airport. You're not going to be very popular. And I think that's where a lot of the criticism has come from. Blanket bans are something which are unheard of, especially based on countries or nationalities. Yes, this is temporary, but however, there has to be a transitional period. Even in this country, when immigration laws are enforced, there's always a transitional period, be it 28 days, and you're given enough notice. You just can't say, right, on Friday, 7 o'clock, as of whether, I don't care whether you're mid-flight or whether you have a visa, or whether you've reached an airport, you're not allowed in. You should have said, right, what the Trump should have said. They should have said, right, there's 28 days, this is what we're going to impose. It starts on this date. Whoever wants to sort it out or oppose it or legally challenge it, there's the timescales. But this hasn't happened, hence the emergency measures that have been taking place now.
Okay, Harjap, thank you. Fascinating. Cheers for sharing your thoughts and insights into this.